Hey, everybody. Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey if you've been here before. My name is Matt. And if you haven't been here before, welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Tonight is a fun, super special, exciting, awesome extravaganza. That's a big word for me, of a night, because tonight I get to turntable the script on somebody who once questioned me a lot. And I had so much stress. I sweated so much under the stress of the one and only national brand ambassador for Bardstown Bourbon Company, Samantha Montgomery. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good, Matt. How are you doing?
Awesome. Her fireplace is back on. It turned off for a second. She got it just kicking again. She is live from home. Just joking.
I wish.
That place is so beautiful. That building is, you could literally shoot video anywhere in there and it looks so good. But
I know. As long as they don't kick you out. That's the issue.
Have you been kicked out before?
Yeah, there's always something going on here. So I never know when there's going to be a private event, a private tasting. You just never know what room is going to be available, but I've secured the best one, I think, in the building for tonight. Just for your live stream, Matt.
We don't deserve that, but thank you. This is one unorganized mess typically, but I did my best to be on my A game for tonight. I wrote several notes that are just a few words a piece. Don't know where I was going with any of them, but they're there, which is way more than I've done for anybody else. Way more. When Nick Lewis came on, I started writing a word and then I stopped. And then it showed later on in my performance. So this tonight, when I talk to you, I get stressed out because I'm afraid that you're going to ask me a question that I don't know the answer to, and I'm going to lose $20,000.
Don't worry about it. I won't be asking any hard questions. The worst is over. Just enjoy being world's top whiskey taster.
Okay. The regional competition, I had one of my children's stress balls. It was like a duck or something. And I was just squeezing its head off the entire time. And then you made it longer than it should have been because judges had to discuss some stuff. And that poor duck was destroyed by the end of the night. I had to get a new one.
Oh, no.
That was just so stressed out.
I'm glad you had something. What would have happened if you didn't have that stress duck? Do you think you would have?
Cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
For sure. Probably would have happened. No. So this is different. You're on the other end tonight.
Yes.
So there's a typical way that these things usually go where I say, everybody, this is Samantha. Oh, by the way, do you go by Sam or Samantha?
Sam.
Okay. Good. Because I've called you Sam before without asking. So sorry about that.
But that is the most common and the most acceptable.
Oh, okay, good. So typically I say, Sam, tell me about yourself. And it's so awkward. But Sam, tell me about yourself. I'm just joking. So you're the national brand ambassador for Bardstown Bourbon Company. Mm-hmm. You were in Wisconsin last week. Mm-hmm. I saw that you were somewhere else skiing. How?
Not yet.
Oh, you haven't been skiing yet?
No, I'm going skiing in a couple of weeks, and that's unwork related. But I'm very excited about it.
There goes my entire thing about how hard you work and how everywhere. Jeez, see, homework would have helped. Boy.
But I could have gone skiing in Wisconsin because the day I flew in, we got 8 inches of snow or something crazy. But we just stuck to drinking in cozy taverns instead, which I wasn't mad about.
Yeah, that's winter in the Midwest is like that. It's all just trying to stay warm, drinking coffee and bourbon and thinking about skiing, but not usually. In our household, we like to talk about going outside and doing things in the winter. We never do. We just talk about it.
So, yeah.
Where are you originally from? Are you from the Kentucky area?
I am not. So I was born and raised in I almost said Bardstown, Kentucky. So I'm actually nervous for this too. And I'm thinking way too hard about these questions.
I'm not from Kentucky. Born there, right?
So I was born and raised in Peoria, Illinois.
Oh,
Didn't move out until I was about 24, and I'm 25 actually, and I'm 29. So I've been here about 5 years.
awesome. And you've been with Bardstown Bourbon Company since basically the beginning, right? You've been there since the early days.
So early days, but I wouldn't say day one because I wouldn't take that away from the distillery guys. So we've had, I want to say, and I might get this number wrong, about 20 people that we hired to get the distillery up and running. So Nick Smith, our head distiller, was part of that group. Steve Nally, obviously. And then some of the other folks have kind of gone in and out, but we have a really solid crew that's been here since day one. I started in 2018 before any of this was here. I think the fireplace was here and nothing else, not even a light fixture. So I kind of, and the brand certainly didn't exist. So we didn't have any product. So it was kind of one of those things where somebody comes up to you and was like, hey, I think you should work for us. We're going to be so big one day. And I was like, all right. I mean, I don't really know how true that is going to pan out to be, but what else do I have going on? And this, if it does turn out to be successful, could be the best decision of my life. And, so far it's gone very, very well. So
That's super cool. Just watching it grow and being put together like that must have been a neat thing to be where you're at now. As far as the day-to-day activities there must be insane. Just being there for a weekend, just seeing all the people coming and going during a pandemic. And then just the restaurant and all the teams there, from the distillery team and the culinary team, the wait staff, like everyone's everywhere, but it seems like it's a pretty well-oiled machine, and it's such a joy to be there that I can't wait to go back. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. There's always something different, and you could come on a weekend and think, oh my God, does this happen all the time? Maybe not. I bet it's just like this on the weekend. No, it is like that all the time, but it makes it a really exciting work environment. I will say during quarantine, it was oddly quiet. I mean, nobody knew what to do with ourselves. So it's good to have, some freedom, to have some people back into some capacity, because it's definitely our comfort zone. We definitely find comfort in chaos around here, most people that work here.
I know what that's like, for sure. So I need something to drink. How about you?
Yes, let's.
What do you have handy? Do you have some new that Fusion stuff, the Fusion 4? Do you have that around?
I do have Fusion 4 right in front of me, and I thought you might bring that up, so I even pre-poured it. It's ready to go.
Wow. We're on the same page about that, for sure. I didn't have mine poured. Actually, I had a little sip of 3.4 year Bardstown Bourbon Company 4-grain bourbon.
How'd you get that?
I had to blend it at the competition from the little blend.
You still have some of your blend?
Not my blend, but like the
the barrel samples?
The components, yeah. And I haven't tasted it until tonight. It's actually really, really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really cool recipe.
Yeah, that's wow. For being young stuff, that's remarkably good. But I just found these when I was grabbing all my Bardstown stuff out of my totes. I told you before, we have a travel nurse family, so all my whiskey's in totes. It's a disaster. But I was like, Fusion 2, Fusion 3, what are these? Oh yeah, I forgot about these. And then I had to taste it. That's so good. But where's my? I don't even know.
Can I ask you a question?
No. Yeah.
So since you guys travel a lot with your wife's job, and you're lugging around I would assume a pretty big library of whiskeys, have you ever lost anything? And if you have, what's been the worst thing that you've lost?
My wife's work bag. That's the only thing we've ever lost moving. I know you're talking about whiskey, probably.
But that was more important, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. She had like a bunch of very important, like meaningful stuff in there, and we don't know what happened to it. Just disappeared.
That's so crazy.
And she said, "You're more concerned about your whiskey than my work bag." And I was like, "Oh, that stings." But I didn't lose any whiskey. So, oh man, it should have been more. I don't know what happened to it. So that's the only thing that's ever, like, whiskey wise, nothing. I was really careful the first time. And then the second and third time, a little less careful. These things are built strong. So strong.
That's good.
Especially these Bardstown Bourbon Company. Look,
they're no joke.
Why do I have?
Joke.
I must have a discovery cork in this Fusion because it's like 70 pounds. I forgot.
Yeah.
How that happened. Oh, it's a good fit. So the Fusion series, you're on the fourth one.
Yeah.
These have always been 60-40 Bardstown to sourced, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To date, everything's kind of TBD in the future, but so far that's been the trend.
Oh, Barn Door is looking for sequence tonight. No, sorry, I don't. Mine are in the wash, so not happening tonight.
I really thought about wearing some sequins tonight to almost like trigger some nostalgia for you from the regional. I thought it'd be kind of funny.
Would have been.
But I didn't commit enough to it. I'm sorry. Next time.
So I have to say, before we get into this Fusion series, I've been getting the craziest, just the amount of messages I've been getting about people basically gobbling up every Bardstown product they can find has been insane. Like lots and lots of stuff, from Fusion to Discovery, Pfeiffer Pavitt, a lot of the older collaboration stuff. People are just like finding out what's happening. Like it's like everything that's being discovered as we speak. Like even some of the older stuff that wasn't, like, I don't know how to really put it, but people are catching on and loving, from what I've heard, loving everything. So, I mean, congratulations to everybody there for making some bomb ass stuff.
Thank you. I'll take the credit for all of it.
Well, you can take credit for one of them. We'll talk about that.
Awesome.
So I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just gonna say, are we allowed to taste this yet? Am I waiting for you?
Yeah. Well, did you get a dizzy first?
A dizzy?
Gotta get a dizzy.
I didn't. I like this. This is the Matt Porter thing. I love it.
Gotta get it spun up. I no longer talk to Nick Lewis, by the way.
Oh, why is that?
The other night, we had a little Zoom thing, and we were just talking about blending for Discovery 5. And I was like, "Well, did you get a dizzy?" And he was like, "Oh, I can't." I was about to do my best Nick, but it'll be bad.
Do it. Please do your best Nick.
Oh, no, not yet. Oh, maybe later. But he's like, actually, when you spin it irritates. I was like, "Don't you ever talk to me again." That's my thing. Why would you take that from me? I was like, "Don't you ever tell me about what I'm doing wrong." And he's like, "You just gotta give it a little." I was like, "Don't you take my spinning away. It's what I like to do."
Yeah. Don't let him try and talk you down.
I just received a text message from my wife that says, "You seem way too nervous."
Oh no.
Which is the best way to get somebody to not be nervous.
Yeah, totally. Call them out on it. Usually brings them way down.
Whiskey helps.
Yeah.
But like I've told you before this, and I tell everybody each week, every time I live stream, for some reason I always get nervous, and I don't know why, because it's comes pretty natural now. It's just, but yeah, every time I always get a little nervous. It's weird. Oh,
you should have seen me before. I guess during World Stop Whiskey Taster regionals, your regional was like second to last or something. Yeah. And we did them so consecutively, like night after night, with like very little breaks of days in between. That by the time we got around to yours, I was just, I don't want to say over it, but I was in it, you know, I was comfortable and I was confident, but like the first few, and you can ask some of those Tennessee was the first one. And I remember our buddy Tim, who has an Instagram, Nashville Bourbon Enjoyment,
Yep.
so had to say something to me afterwards, like, dude, you were fine. But like before we went live, I was like jumping up and down and like waving, like fanning my face. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
That's so funny.
It's nerve-wracking.
It is, and then when you're live, it's like, well, time to hide these feelings. Now, Simon Martin says, welcome to the stream. Can't wait to try the new Fusion 4. Drinking some Fusion 3 tonight. Heck yeah, the Fusion 4 is like an apple pie. I get big time apple pie on that for sure. That's nice.
I do.
One. So good.
I do too. Apple pie. Lots of vanilla on the finish for me too.
It's cool because we're seeing this. So 40% of this is 13-year Kentucky bourbon, and then the remaining 60% is all Bardstown distillate. 4-year, 3-year, 3-year, and oh wow, I never noticed before. One of them doesn't even have any malted barley in it. Oh, it's corn and rye. That's it. That's no malted barley at all. The mash, like, that's what's really cool about the company as well. All the experimentation and different mash bills we see coming out of there is crazy. And 4 grains wheated stuff. This 60-40 corn to rye. So neat.
It is very cool. It kind of it confuses a lot of people when they don't see any malted barley in a mash bill, because if you've ever been on a tour, you know, you hear a million times that you need malted barley to convert the starches to sugars. But you can actually use the enzymes as well and they don't really give an artificial flavor, but they do allow you to use more of the more flavorful grains like rye, wheat, and corn. So it's just something, you know, we tried. It's just something we thought worth trying out, and we thought it made a really great product, and it ended up going into the Fusion blend. So I think it's cool.
So with all these different things, like I mentioned the 4 grain earlier, and then there's 3 different mash bills on here. With the amount of like contract distilling that you're doing there, how much of your own distillate do you have aging? Are you going to have tons and tons, or are you going to be slightly cutting back on contract distilling later to start producing more stuff for yourself?
It's an interesting question that I don't have a concrete answer to, because we are, you know, privately owned, meaning, you know, there's no bigger man upstairs or woman that is saying, you know, what we can and can't do. So we could take a stance and say, hey, this is what we're doing now, and this is what we're always going to do. But just the nature of business and how fast we're growing, I'm sure a lot of things will change as we go. Currently, we are producing more for our customers than we are for ourselves right now. But that is the only reason that we have grown so big in such a short amount of time, and kind of sustains that growth.
Sure.
So, you know, everything that we produce for ourselves, we're holding back most of it, actually. So as much product as you see on the market, as much Fusion, which has our product in it, as you see, there's way more that's still aging in barrels that we're just kind of letting rest until we want it to be bottled on its own versus in a blend with other people's product. So, you know, we're producing 7 million proof gallons a year. We're the 7th largest whiskey producer. So while 80% of our production is for customers, that 20% of that 7 million is still a lot. And maybe, which this is what I can't speak confidently on, but what I kind of speculate is that when our core product, when that product is fully aged and bottled fully just on its own, and once we get into all 50 states, and once we kind of, you know, if everything goes to plan and we're a national brand and we're thinking about going international, I can see the scales reversing. I can see us, you know, leaning more towards using more production for our product and less for customers. But I don't think we'll ever stop producing for other brands, because it's such a it's such a building block of our facility. I think it really opens up to the whole transparency of sourcing as an inevitable part of the industry, and the fact that people can make a custom recipe here instead of buying leftover stock from other big producers
Right.
is something that we've kind of really we've got a really good thing going, so why would we ever stop it? So I
Exactly.
don't see it ever going away. I do think it's a possibility that much farther down the line we produce more for ourselves than we do for customers, but that may not be true. I don't know.
That was by far the most professional question I've ever asked in my entire life.
I saw the comment.
I mean, how am I proud of that? I mean, your answer was magnificent, but this,
Thank you.
I don't even know what to say. I feel like I need to ask you something totally not even favorite cocktail on the menu. What is it off the cuff?
So I'm not sure if it's still on the menu, but a hobby made, who's our beverage director, Brandon Habenstein, he made a cocktail called Rustle of Leaves that was on the fall cocktail menu, fall winter, so it may still be on. And it had Fernet. It was like a Manhattan that had like a heavy Fernet component, and it was delicious. I can't exactly recall everything that was in it, but it was so good. And so I'm sure he could make it, even if it's off the menu. If you come in here and ask for it, I'm sure he can make it for you.
Define Fernet.
So Fernet. So just a little behind the scenes. When I get nervous in front of the camera or in front of people, Fernet is kind of my go-to shooter. I don't want to say shot. I don't know. It sounds kind of collegey when I say shot, but sometimes I shoot it, sometimes I sip on it. I have it on the side right here just in case I start panicking.
It's like coffee.
It is. It goes really. So it's an Italian spirit that is very bitter, and not to geek out too much, but bitter is. I love the bitter flavor. Bitter in American culture is received as something not good, undesirable, but in a lot of different cultures, and especially in Italian culture, the bitter flavor is really celebrated and is embedded in their food and beverage culture. So espresso, coffee, both bitter things. Italy is the epicenter of espresso and coffee, and dark chocolate and Fernet. So it's just kind of a nice little spirit to shake things up from the norm for me.
Wow. You obviously have a background in cocktail.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's apparent. So do you prefer cocktails, or do you prefer like drinking whiskey neat or on the rocks? Like, what's your go-to?
So that's a great question. And I feel like I change my answer all the time because I'm evolving as a person. The pandemic certainly changed some of my habits. But currently, right now, I would say I'm more of a cocktail person when it comes to just drinking casually.
Sure.
But I'm also a whiskey nerd. So I don't like to put a bourbon into a cocktail until I fully experience it on its own first, right? And if there's ever a bourbon on the shelf that I find interesting, or I've never heard of before, I want to drink that neat. But it's less of like when I'm drinking, right? Like having a few, it's cocktails, but it's cocktails that are usually very bourbon forward. So I'm not trying to like mix different things in so that I don't taste my bourbon. I'm trying to kind of balance the bourbon with other flavors like bittered spirits and herbs and fruit juices sometimes and things like that. So definitely more of a cocktail person. And that's kind of expected when you look at my background and how much I've done in cocktail.
See, Whiskey Central, she has a channel on YouTube also, but she
Okay.
commented while you were saying that. She said, I would have just pretended like I knew what she said. I would have just pretended like I knew what she was talking about because I would have been way too nervous. That's kind of how I felt. I was like, what in the world are these words that I have no idea? But that's a really cool thing. I personally, I don't make cocktails because I don't know how. I don't have the stuff, and I don't know, like it's like making food, like home cooking recipes. Like the more you do it, the more you learn, the more you know, of course, but I just haven't really dabbled. But then when I went for the World's Top Whiskey Taster, Hobby made some drinks that really opened my eyes, and I was like, I think I'm a cocktail guy. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
But like, oh my gosh, like ridiculously good.
I think it's so I don't know how to say this without sounding a little pretentious. So, but I'm just going to be honest and be myself. So, especially since the pandemic, a lot more people are getting into cocktails. And it's convenient almost to a fault that we have the internet and we have all these different people with different opinions of what a cocktail should taste like and different recipes that maybe, when that writer, when that writer makes that recipe, they're doing things that aren't exactly easy to describe in words or in text in a recipe. So people end up with these cocktails that just don't taste good. So cocktails are there's a lot more to it than following a recipe or just like, does this taste good or does it not taste good, right? So unfortunately for people that are trying to get into cocktails, the internet is a little bit too much. Like there's too much information out there and it's really hard to sift through what is a good resource and what isn't. And even if it is a good resource, are you going to pull it off at home and who's going to tell you if it's correct or not, if like you passed or you failed. So, Hobby and I try to do virtual cocktail classes a lot. So,
that was my segue. That was totally
yeah. Was it? I stole it. I'm sorry.
No. Then I interrupted you like a total jerk instead of letting you continue. Oh, I hate when I do that. But seriously, let me do this.
Okay.
Sam and Hobby do these virtual cocktail classes that how often do you do those? Are they monthly?
So they were weekly during the shutdown, and then they turned them monthly when the restaurant got up and running. And now we're going to do them more formally, seasonally, like as more of like a production, as more of a well thought out. We're going to do some fundraising, some swag giveaways during it. And then what I'm going to try to do more, some casual conversation on Instagram and YouTube. We're going to create a YouTube series that has, instead of having virtual cocktail classes that we do on Zoom that kind of disappear and only the 30 to 50 people that are able to join get to see, we're actually going to start releasing a YouTube series where we kind of produce it, edit it, make sure that it's very easy to follow along and they'll forever be on our YouTube page. So the first one will be coming out in a couple of weeks, which we're also sending you to do your reaction video on, which I am really excited about. So,
see, I was going to pretend like we never even talked about it.
Oh no!
I was gonna say, you know what we should do?
No.
I was gonna take that angle. But
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. But let's pretend like you didn't say that.
Okay.
You know what we should do? You shoot a cocktail video, you and Hobby, and I'll recreate it to the best of my ability. I will make the cocktail you made with what I have, and it will be delicious, or it may not be. But I will recreate it, and I'll film it, and we can compare and our techniques, our processes, and I'll do it to the best of my ability. And I think you'll be surprised with what I can do. So probably terribly.
I have nothing but great expectations. I think you're going to pull it off. Just a little spoiler alert, there is going to be some egg white in there.
Oh, I've got those. I have those. It comes it comes in a carton.
Oh, no, don't use that.
What?
Yeah.
Where else would you get them from?
You use whatever you have, but we typically get it from the egg.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. If you want to like separating, I mean, geez, have to go buy a whole egg instead of a carton.
Yeah.
See, I'm already letting you in on. So, see, that's a shortcut.
And that's a shortcut.
That's how you make things taste tremendous. Is you take shortcuts.
Yeah.
Every time, in every way you can. I would imagine that's how you make things taste really good.
Yeah, shortcuts usually lead to better results. Yep.
For sure. Every time. In
In
every
most things.
every walk of life.
Yeah, totally.
I want to pour something that is kind of special to you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to pour some Discovery 3 and talk about that. But while I do
Mm-hmm.
that, Christopher Glover asked if there's a goal for core product when your distillate is where you want it.
Yes. So we're going to wait till a few of our mash bills that we have our eye on that we've been aging longer than others are 6 years old. So right now, our oldest barrels are just over 4 years, almost 4.5 years. So we're about a year and a half away from when we think they'll be done. And then, from that point, we'll have to check in on it, tote it, blend it, bottle it. So 2023 is when we expect to release our first core product. And we'll have a few different expressions in that category. We'll have a bourbon that has a high rye mash bill. We'll have a bourbon that has a wheated mash bill. We'll have a bottled in bond bourbon that has a 39% wheat mash bill, which is incredibly high. And we'll have a rye whiskey instead of a bourbon. So those are some things that we are definitely planning for and hope to execute. Obviously, they're a couple years away, so hopefully there's no weird surprises. But Steve Nally, our master distiller, he really thinks that 6 years is really a prime age statement for aged bourbons to kind of reach their peak flavor. We could certainly go longer, but we don't want to go any less than that. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now.
So when that's released in 2023, Travis wants to know if at that point, do you plan on being available in all 50 states?
So I think the projected plan is that we'll be in all 50 states by 2025. But don't quote me on that. Things change and it could be sooner, it could be later, but that's kind of, if everything goes the way we planned it to go, which, we could be successful, it'll be 2025 that it'll be in all 50 states.
Awesome. That's actually much sooner than it seems like.
It really is. It's going to fly by.
For sure. So how many states are you in right now? Was it 11 before and more?
It was 11 at the beginning of the year. So February, which I keep reminding myself that it's already February, we are opening Michigan, Georgia, and New York. So 3 really big markets, especially New York, just on population alone. But Georgia and Michigan have some really good bourbon communities and are begging for it. So we're working on those right now. And by the end of the year, we'll be in 20 states. So, getting pretty close to our halfway mark. And it's a pretty quick rate of growth when you think about all the things that it includes. So we know everybody wants the product, or at least what I get on social media is I heard you do too, Matt, is everybody wants to know when they're going to find it in their town, in their state. And we're working on it. We want to get it in your hands sooner than later. Trust me.
Well, I'm super happy to hear Michigan's next. I'm a Michigan guy, so that's really exciting. To be able to go to the store and pick up some Bardstown Bourbon Company will be really, really nice instead of having to, go online or take a drive. Wisconsin, You were just in Wisconsin for their launch, right?
Yes.
So it's not that far.
Yeah, that's right. Wisconsin too. I forgot about, and you know what? I think I misspoke. I think Michigan is next month and Wisconsin is this month. There's a lot of states opening this year, but all in due time. So
we need to do some sort of party in Michigan. I need to celebrate it. I need to fireworks, a bounce house, the works, or maybe just a small party. Well, either way, we need to celebrate.
I can see if Mark will allow some fireworks into the budget. just for Michigan.
If Disney can do it,
Why can't Bardstown Bourbon Company? Yeah, exactly.
So I just poured some Discovery 3, which
Okay.
is ridiculously good.
Yes.
Now, this was a creation of yours. This is
Yes.
they gave you components and said, use these components to blend the perfect Discovery whiskey. And you were like, hold my bourbon. And you did it. This is so good.
Thank you.
Like, do you carry this everywhere you go? I would have a backpack full of it, so that when people said, what do you do for a living? You would say, here, taste this. And then you laugh and like maniacally, and you just walk away. And they'll be like, she's good. She's real good.
I have at least a couple at home. One that I'm just never going to open because I want to save it as a memento in case I never blend anything again. But I did have, I think I bought like 6, which is like, I don't know how I afforded 6 bottles of this stuff, but I did it. And I went home for Christmas, and, nothing says I love you like something that, brags about yourself. Right. So I was like, Merry Christmas. This is how cool I am. And just in case you want to tell your friends and family, I'll sign it for you.
I was going to say, did you sign it for him? That's great.
Yeah. I'm very humble. It's one of my best qualities.
I'm upset. I didn't get your autograph on mine. Next one.
Next one. Yeah.
The old Sam autograph.
Yeah.
Andrew Buchanan says, Discovery 3 was the first bottle of whiskey I bought that cost over $100. It is fantastic, and I'd buy them all.
Thank you, Andrew.
I hear this so often, that people are just getting into this and loving every single sip. From the discoveries, the collaboration stuff is insane. The Pfeiffer Pavitt that I just opened is very good. And I mean, I'm not a wine guy, but starting to turn into a wine guy all of a sudden with bourbon for sure. It's so good. So sneaking good.
And it's really cool because a lot of people are having the opposite experience where they're not typically bourbon people, but they like wine, and they're hearing this buzz about this wine collaboration, or they're big fans of Pfeiffer Pavitt already, or Prisoner, which is one we've done before. Yeah. And they're like, well, I want to try this bourbon. And then they like the bourbon. And now the whole window, or the whole door, whatever you want to call it, of bourbons is more open to them than it was before, which is the beautiful thing about the collaboration series. One of the most beautiful things about it.
So the apple brandy one from Copper and Kings, I have to say, is one of my favorites of them all. It's so ridiculously good. And then the Chateau de la Baude, that's how you say it, right?
I don't know. I hear it so many different. I think Dan Calloway knows the most about how to say it. But
I think that's how a professional would say it. And like I had an argument last week about it, but I'm pretty sure Chateau de la Baude.
I don't know. If I see Estelle walk through here, Estelle is our front of house manager in the restaurant, and she was born and raised in France, and she has the thickest French accent. And so anytime I don't know how to say something, I ask her, and she does it way more beautifully than I ever could. So I'll have to get her opinion.
That's gotta be it. And that's ridiculously good as well. I have Nick Lewis sent me a whole bunch of samples, and I still have some left. I have a double Mistel, which I think that was an expensive bugger back when it was released at Bardstown, right?
Yes.
It's like finished in a Mistel barrel for hi.
Can I just say, Estelle literally just walked in as I said her name, and she can clear up this de la Baude or de la Baude. How do we say it? Will you say it? Will you say it into the microphone?
Yeah. De la Baude.
Did we get that? You were way closer than I was. Thank you.
De la Baude.
Yeah, I still can't say de la Baude. De la Bad. Yeah.
I mean, wow, okay. You have everybody working there.
I
Everybody.
know.
Oh my goodness. Like we actually asked the question and then boom, there's the answer.
I don't even think she heard me say her name. It was just fate that I mentioned her, and then she just walked by, and I said, "Oh, come here," and she went, "No."
That is funny. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your question.
Oh no,
You were
I wasn't even.
asking me
No, I was
about.
just looking at a couple of these other collaborations. There's the oh wow. You know what? I really got ahead of myself on the pronunciation thing because now I'm I painted myself in a corner with a couple of these. The
Okay.
Destillare, which is the orange curacao one.
Yes, I believe it's destillare. The only thing I know is that it's a Latin term. It's actually the Latin word for that means to trickle down, and it's where the root of the word distill comes from, because distill, it trickles down alcohol, I guess. Fun fact, not important, but
That's cool though.
yeah.
You are a fountain of knowledge.
Yeah.
And then the double mistel, that's like I was reading a little bit about it, but that's like shoot.
It's like a dessert wine almost. So Mistel is made from the Muscat grape, which I think I'm right about most of this. Once again, I'm not like the savant, but Mistel is made from the Muscat grape, which is usually the base grape in like Moscato, right?
Okay.
But the difference is when they shred the grapes and get the juice out of the grapes, and you would typically let it ferment, which turns it into wine. You actually don't ferment it at all. You get the juice and then you add distilled unaged brandy, really, to the grape juice to kind of fortify it. So it's got the sweetness of that grape juice, but it's also got the spirit of that unaged brandy in it, making it both, alcohol content. I don't know if that was a weird way to say that. Makes it alcohol, but it also has like that sweetness from the grapes, from the Muscat grape as well. So the double Mistel we finished in Mistel barrels.
Yeah.
And then the reason we call it double is because it went back into a new charred oak barrel, almost like a double oaked, but that saw Mistel barrel in between. So it's just got like crazy character on it, like unlike anything that I've ever tasted, and it's delicious. Have you had it?
I haven't, but I'm really, after I read about it earlier today, I was really looking forward to it. It's super dark, but
yes.
I'm a huge fan of the apple brandy finished one. Then I was reading about this and how that was about the Muscat grape and everything, and then rebuild it again, and I was like, this is probably one of the bourbons that I know about that have gone through a very long process, because the initial finishing is 18 months on all of your finishes, right?
Yeah, I think that one went a little bit longer, because we kind of held it back. So like when we had our very first Mistel release, which wasn't even anything like technically in our portfolio, didn't have like Bardstown Bourbon Company name on it or anything. It was a big square bottle. We held back a barrel just to see if we should have maybe let it age longer. Just kind of, it was our first thing, so we kind of just let it go a little bit. And it didn't really continue to age. It was kind of like, it kind of got everything from the barrel that it could have got. So we took it out of that barrel and we put it into a new barrel instead. And then it's been so long. I don't know if it says on the side of the bottle how long it was in the new charred oak barrel, but it spent some time in there, a significant amount of time in there.
Yeah, you can tell that it's much. The color on it's crazy compared to a lot of the other ones. So yeah. Can't wait to get into that one. But
let me know when you do, because that is a treat.
I'm surprised I didn't get into that one sooner. But
yeah,
happy accident, right?
Happy accidents. There are no mistakes, only happy accidents.
Jay Hamilton with a brain buster. I'll have to see if I
Yeah.
can figure this one out. Passionate about my work, but a dime a dozen in my field. Sam, what does it feel like to see people chasing your work?
Um,
I have
it
no
makes
idea what that means. Do you?
I think it means like how does it feel to see people? I'm assuming that he says dime a dozen is that there's a bunch of you doing what you do,
Mhm.
and everybody wants to get into that industry, which is certainly true. People ask me all the time, like, hey, I'm in love with bourbon. How do I get in? And I guess that makes me feel very grateful.
Oh,
Um,
I'm.
I think that's how I'm supposed to read it.
I actually, you know what? I think you're wrong. I think I
You think I'm
figured it out. I
okay?
think,
What is it?
I think he's asking about what it feels like to have people chasing Discovery 3, like your actual
Oh,
role.
okay. So
I could be wrong.
it feels very cool. I also, I, it's very surreal to me that I got a blend in the bottle. So I don't feel like it totally sunk in, and I feel like because these are such small releases, it kind of just came and went, and now it's just a blip in my career. Like, where did that go? But it's very cool. I recently went down to Texas as well. I went from Wisconsin to Texas back to back. In Texas, they have an awesome bourbon club called the Dallas Bourbon Club that we did a couple of events with. And, I guess Discovery 3 sells incredibly well in Texas, and it's one of
Mhm.
their favorite expressions. So when they found out that, or realized that I blended it and I went to go visit, they asked very similar questions, and I guess it doesn't really sink in at all. And honestly, there's so many other people behind the product that it doesn't really make me feel.
Right.
I'm very proud and I'm very flattered, but there's also so many other people that went into the production of that bourbon, how it gets to the bottle. I think there's a lot more things that sell it more than just how it tastes, right? And you have to have good
Right.
bourbon to blend with in order to make a good blend, right? So a lot
Mhm.
of credit goes out to master distillers and what they do as well.
Yeah, it's not you blended it, but you didn't create what went in. I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah,
it's
I
still
can't take all the credit for it.
you can
It
take a
was
lot, just for sure.
I'll allow myself to take some credit for it. You know, uh, but it's cool. It's definitely a really cool feeling.
So we have this is I'm gonna my record for people in chat. I believe is like 336. We're at 321 right now.
Ooh,
We're almost at a new record. Sam bringing the folks. That's
yeah,
incredible. That's
that's
cool.
right.
Thank you so much, by the way, for doing this. This is super cool. I don't know.
You're super cool.
This is a really weird. I'm just a goofball who enjoys whiskey. So to actually speak with someone who is very, very like you talk circles around me, and I'm like I'm just nodding and smiling, and I have so much to learn in this industry, and to hear you just spouting this information, and you're so confident knowing everything. I'm like, I've got so much to learn, and I just look like a bozo here. And I appreciate you coming on and talking with me about Bardstown Bourbon Company, about whiskey in general and the spirits industry, because it's really cool to learn, especially from someone like you who I can relate with. You're a cool person, and I'm really excited and happy that you came on. Thank you so much, Sam. I'm not
Thank
done,
you.
but I just want to say thank you before I forgot to say thank you.
Thank you. And before you don't give me the opportunity to, I think you're super cool. And I think that you're going to be famous someday. I think you already are kind of somewhat famous. But I think you're going to be bigger than Bardstown Bourbon Company. And I won't go on and on about it because I know it's going to make you uncomfortable.
Sam is betting against me in this diet competition. I will not be bigger than Bardstown Bourbon Company. How dare you? How dare you?
That's not what I said. But you know what I mean. I think you got a really good thing going here. I think you're very unique, and I am genuinely very excited to be here and to be um, somewhere, some sort of platform where I can be a little more casual and be a little more myself and um, not feel so like all the eyes are on me to answer every question accurately, or somebody's going to say, you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, no, I know this. And I'm like, okay, well, why did you put me on here? Did you just want to make yourself feel better? Or did you want to have fun? And I think that's what makes you so successful. And I think I'm saying it right here on live television, broadcasting across the whole world, that you're going to be famous someday. And I would like to ride on your coattails.
Don't you start with that. That's so silly. If you rewind the tape about 4 minutes ago, I said, Sam, you're wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, you did it nicely.
Okay. Oh, geez. Just getting myself into trouble. Daniel wants to know how long it took to create the final blend. What was your inspiration with it? So before you answer, recently we both were working on Discovery 5 with all the components. It's not easy at all because it seems like it could be, but the cool thing is, like, I didn't realize this about the process until you actually sent me this stuff. It's not like a free-for-all where you get to play fun games and you get to say, choose whatever you want. Whatever you want can go into this blend. It's you have a limited inventory on certain products that can go into making this amount of Discovery 5. So you have to use what you have on hand to make something great, which is what makes it really difficult. So with Discovery 3, did that happen right away with you, or was it a long process, or how did that work?
I think I was kind of fortunate because I think Discovery 3, we had, it made it easier and harder in kind of the same way. So I think we had the most inventory available for that blend, which also meant that like the different variations, like the difference in all the blends was vast, right? So there were some really good blends that had completely different products in it. And the coolest thing about it was that we had opened the door to being able to proof it slightly. Like we knew we wanted to keep it above 100 strengths just to kind of stay in that kind of cast strength category, but maybe it's 115, maybe it's 118, maybe it's 110. And we also opened options to non-Kentucky sourced inventory that we had that I really liked. So, as a brand starting out, it was kind of a marketing strategy to say like, hey, like we have enough Kentucky bourbons to blend just with Kentucky bourbons so we can keep Kentucky on the label, because a lot of people care about that. Should they? Yes and no. It's great that they want to support Kentucky bourbons, but we're also, we pride ourselves on being, just about the tasting experience. Almost everything that we do is a blind tasting. And that was kind of where the premise of World's Top Whiskey Taster came into play. Like, so why take an Indiana bourbon off the table just because it's from Indiana? It was one of the best bourbons that we had to blend with. So I was really excited to be able to blend with it. And that's why it was, the most predominant bourbon in my blend, kind of rounded out by a couple others. So, I had the fortune of having less parameters. That was kind of the first one we kind of like opened the floodgates, and it was really fun. So
that's super cool.
Yeah.
When I got the samples for this Discovery 5 blend, I just sat there and just smiling at it, and I was like, everywhere I went, I just carried the little box around with me, and I set up like little blending stations basically everywhere I could go. And it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, you start to get critical about what you're doing. And it's like at one point, I'm like, this has got to be fun, Matt. Like, stop, like the dropping like little drops, and I'm like, that's too much. How did I screw that up? I went over. This is gonna ruin the whole thing. But I just had a lot of fun with it, and it's really cool that everybody at the distillery there who's part of that process gets to do the same thing. Because
Yeah.
instead of having one master blender like a lot of other distilleries, I think that what you're doing there brings everybody together more. I mean, if you all work on products together like that, like how cool is that? That you have your blend and Stu has his blend, this for Discovery 4, and like throughout the years, there's going to be so many people who get to be proud of their work and be proud of, you know, where they work and how it came together. And I'm just super honored to be part of it this year. And it's exciting. And I don't know, I think that for the future, it's something people can get on board with too. Even consumers. It's like they see you or Stu or, I mean, what heck, what if I did, like, I mean, it's not going to happen, but if it did, it's like, it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's not one person doing it. It's a team and a group and like a family there that's all working together. And I really like that.
It's very exciting.
Sometimes I start talking and I don't know where I'm going. Then it all
Me too. Me
switches.
too. Yeah. It's kind of how I ended up with purple hair, actually. I kind of sat down in the salon chair and just started talking about things, and before I knew it, it was purple. So
Oh man.
I relate.
How long were you there for? Jeez.
A couple hours. Yeah.
You're like, oh, by the way, I have purple hair. I wish I had just when I was in high school, like bleach blonde, and it wasn't great. But I think I'll do it again one day.
I think you should show the audience some pictures, maybe in a future video, unless you have some pictures like on hand. I would love to see some bleach blonde
Oh,
Matt Porter teeny bopper high school.
I don't know if I have any pictures, but I might. Somewhere, I'm sure, right? They've got to be around somewhere. My mom probably has some. My mom's in chat. She'd probably tell me, she'd be like, I've got 7. They're categorized by year, and I don't know. Any idea when Discovery 5 will be released? Well, you guys are you doing like a spring release and a fall release? Is that how it's working out?
A little bit. We kind of like to see just how bottle sales are with our current release, right? And we want to make sure that nothing is off the shelf for too long, right? So that's kind of a hard thing to gauge, right? And that's something that I don't have any expertise in, but Herb Henneman, our VP of sales and marketing, like he's got a really good finger on the pulse of, you know, market trends and you know, how past releases have sold, and he'll kind of plan the year out to say like, hey, let's blend this now, let's get it bottled. And if there's still Discovery 4 on the shelf, we'll just keep it in, you know, we'll just keep it at the distributor until we run out of that release, and then we'll stock up. So it's not easy to say like, oh, it's going to release April 1st, right? So he probably knows right now and I don't, but so the easy answer is when Discovery 4 is sold out, Discovery 5 will be right behind it. That's the easy answer.
That makes a lot of sense. Probably the way it should be, right?
Exactly. So, yeah.
Discovery 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the shelf at the same time. Everywhere.
Yeah. We try to keep that from happening. Yeah.
Jerry Black says, can't wait for the World's Top Whiskey Taster Blend. That's something that I understand will happen. So hopefully, fingers are crossed that
fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. If Matt keeps on being just the best World's Top Whiskey Taster ever.
Stop with the pressure. I'm just trying to loosen up. Now I'm back to the...
We'll see. Keep up the fan base, and we might not have an option, but just make the people happy.
If you're in chat and you want a World's Top Whiskey Taster blend, let her know right now. Tell her. I think that we'd sell a few. I'd buy a few for sure.
Yeah, if you're buying bottles, there's no way we can't do it. So let us know if that's something you want to see.
Oh yes, drums and drams. I I have an apple brandy on the way. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that. That was one of my unicorns because I had a sample of it and I was like, I need one. I need one so bad. And then found out that he had maybe an extra, a spare. Yes, excited. Oh, Michelle Davilar is providing a giveaway tonight. That's awesome. Thank you, Michelle.
Super cool.
Awesome. So we'll do that like we normally do. Instant sellout. World Stop Whiskey Taster Pen. I'd buy a bottle, please. Oh, see, Nathan Souza asked nicely with several E's and A's. And that's funny. That would be something that'd be super cool. And I don't know. Think a dream come true kind of stuff. But
yeah.
Christopher Glover wants to know if there's any rhyme or reason to the label color on Discovery Series bottles.
It's a good question. So when we first started out, we had a green label, and it was a bit of a big oversight on our part, because then we quickly realized that green labels without any rhyme or reason, people decided are strictly for rye whiskeys. So we didn't want to confuse people, and we thought, hey, we're still pretty young in the game. Let's just change it up now. So the red label that you see will be forever that color.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why is rye green? I've heard other people talk about it before, but that's a weird thing. It's everybody kind of.
I don't know. I think honestly, like, there's some green in some older labels of bourbons, like Henry McKenna is a little bit green. That's not a rye. Weather Special Reserve, and that's been around for a while. But anything, like, I feel like after Bullet, rye became super popular, which it did. It just blew up at one point. I think people started adopting that bright green label for rye whiskeys, as ryes didn't really pop off until Bullet Rye did. So I think they were trying to just, grab attention in the way that Bullet did. That's very, it's a very subjective opinion, but that's just one theory I would have. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, it's a weird thing that you literally had to change the label color for that reason. It's weird.
Yeah. We're not afraid to make changes when they're for the better. So that's how it went.
So I'm gonna, for my last pour of the night, I'm gonna try one more pour of this Pfeiffer Pavitt Reserve, the newest one, America. Oh, geez.
America.
That cork is just the heaviest thing. It's an exercise every time you have a drink, at least up and down one time.
It's also, if somebody broke into your house and you've got a collection of Bardstown Bourbons on your bourbons on your back bar. Have another one, Sam. You could just easily take a couple of those off and throw it in a sock and really tell that burglar what's up.
Yeah,
that's kind of aggressive, but it could save your life one day.
It could.
Buy Bardstown Bourbon. It could save your life one day.
It definitely could.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about the artwork on the bottle. So the bottle design alone is awesome. So the Fusion series has its own artwork on the back. It's like a chemical structure, I think, right?
So without being too boring, it is inspired by the DNA structure of vanillin or vanillin, however you say it. I think vanillin just sounds weird, so I say vanillin, but I don't think that's correct. So that was inspired by that. And then with Discovery, we have an ear of corn, which is kind of self-explanatory: bourbon, corn. Sure. And then all the collaborations have whatever spirit producer we're collaborating with, that has their logo on the back. Yeah.
That's the Pfeiffer Pavitt logo. That's so cool.
Yeah, she's called the Moxie Girl, I think. And so she's on Pfeiffer Pavitt's, Suzanne Pfeiffer Pavitt's Cabernet bottles. And she's super cute, right? And I like seeing some femininity on a bottle of bourbon. It's nice.
Absolutely. It's good. That's but I mean, just it's it's kind of, this one particularly is pretty old school. It seems like there's like,
Yeah.
it seems, I don't know. I like looking at it.
Yeah, it's almost pinup-y, but not in like an over sexualized way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's another thing with bourbon in general. There's so many collectors out there that having a bottle that looks really nice, especially next to another one on a shelf, says something.
Yeah.
Shelf appeal. It's like people come over and like if a lot of us have displayed bourbon or like your collections, and Bardstown Bourbon Company is one of them that somebody might point to and be like, "Oh, that's pretty neat. Like, what's that?" And then you take the cork out and they're like, "What the heck? 60 pounds." And you're like 72 pounds. But no, just the artwork in general is just beautiful. Who's to blame for that? Who does all this stuff? The artwork and everything there.
So the original bottle design was by Christian Williamson. He was our original creative director.
Sure.
So he kind of came up with the first format, but it has changed a lot since then. We have done some just larger branding and made a lot of tiny changes that have made a really big difference. And that is all due to our current creative director, Michael Powell, who is just a creative genius. Not only does he design these bottles or continue to design these bottles, but he is responsible for every creative asset that you see, including everything on our website, everything on our social media, our menus, the signage you see when you're here. So he's incredibly talented and we're very lucky to have him.
So cool. I like reading the booklets too. I'm a firm believer that you have to read your bottle and you have just to look through everything just to get the full experience out of it.
Yeah.
And the Discovery 3 okay, don't hate me for this, but was
okay.
in the Discovery 3 booklet, all I remember is Danny Calloway's smiling face.
Yeah, I'm not in it.
That is a BS, and I'm upset. I no longer am excited to be a part of your company. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Heck.
I think it was just another one of those kind of oversights where it was produced and then we went, why didn't we do that? So it wasn't intentional. No hard feelings from me, certainly. And I definitely get enough credit for the blend. And my face is everywhere anyways on social media and lots of other different things. So I wasn't too upset about it, but I'm glad somebody noticed.
I'm furious still.
Maybe we can make little stickers of my face and we can just go find everybody that owns a bottle and every bottle that still exists on the shelf. And we'll just go stick my face over Danny Bardstown's. I'm sure he wouldn't care. And his physique is kind of like mine. I got the blazer going on. He's always got the blazer going on. I think we could make it work. I don't think anybody would know. I'm pretty tall. Now things are, you put the wheels in motion. I'm going to do this. Everybody
there is tall, by the way.
Isn't that weird?
I felt so short. And I mean, I'm not like super short, but I'm not tall. And I was like, what the heck is going on?
I know. It's really weird that we have so many tall people here. It's unusual.
I ordered some platforms for next time.
Yeah. Oh my God. You have to wear them, but wear really long pants so that nobody sees the platforms either.
They'll just see me walking awkwardly. I'll be like, I worked out yesterday, leg day. What happened?
Yes.
Did you grow 5 inches? Sure did. And I'm still 3 inches shorter than everybody.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I support it.
I have to apologize to Hobby because there was a picture of, I was trying to make a thumbnail for this. And then I saw the picture of you and Hobby in like I think it was like a cocktail class. So I used Hobby's body and I'm so sorry, but
that's okay. We loved it. We got a good laugh out of it. And, he has a good sense of humor, so no hard feelings.
Well, that's good that he didn't care because I didn't ask first. I just kind of did.
And we love that you didn't ask. honestly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to keep you too late because I feel bad keeping you all night. It's late and you're at the distillery still. And
I live like 2 minutes down this road. I actually come here just to hang out sometimes.
okay, then I'll keep you here till 1 a.m. Just kidding.
That's a little late.
Well, it's either one or the other, Sam. Come on.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's Bardstown is totally my speed. Where we're from in Michigan, it's very rural. If it's 2 miles down the road, it's 2 minutes. Like that's how we talk about how many minutes it is away instead of miles, because miles equal minutes. But,
exactly.
So when we were in Bardstown, I felt very much at home. Like, oh, this is way
Nice.
more my speed than like Louisville or city life. So I get it. You just have to hop over the cornfield in your home.
Yeah. Hey, before we sign off, I
Yeah.
really wanted to ask you maybe a question or two if you're not tired or going to bed.
I'm definitely not.
Because you're the world's top whiskey taster. We hosted you here at the distillery, but everything was moving so fast and
Mhm.
there were so many different things that I didn't really ever feel like I got to know you very well. And I would just like to know a couple of things. One of them is how did you get into whiskey? Have you always been into whiskey? And what led to you starting this YouTube channel that has just been booming with subscribers and followers and people that would follow you to the ends of the earth? I mean, like, that is, a lot of people on YouTube have huge followings, but you have a very niche following. Like, people really support you. People are really behind you, and just kind of explain that journey through your hobby and your passion for whiskey.
Yeah. So, my dad was always he was a whiskey drinker when I grew up. So I didn't when I was little, it was whiskey. It wasn't I didn't really understand anything about it at all. I knew it. The smell of it, and then the smell of whiskey to me, it's nostalgic because I just remember when I was little, just growing up, he'd pour a drink with put some Vernors in a whiskey and stir it with his finger, and I just would smell it, and certain times still now, I still smell it once in a while, and I smell that smell instead of what I like. You can nose whiskey all you want, but sometimes I still get that smell from when I was a little kid, and I'm like, oh, that's so weird. But so it was always around a little bit. It's funny because I can still actually remember some of the labels I'd see once in a while. Like at one point he was drinking Black Velvet or Canadian Club or Jim Beam or Southern Comfort. I'd see these labels in my head. So when I first started shopping for whiskey, I'd see them on a shelf and just remind me of my dad. But it was actually probably 2017. I just started, honestly, this is what happened. We sold a family business and we were kind of immediately looking for work because we sold this hotel that we basically grew up in. So I was running a hotel and then we stopped doing it because we sold it. And my wife's a nurse, so she didn't have a problem finding a job, but I was trying to find something to do. And in that meantime of trying to find something to do, I basically just started getting interested in whiskey and started learning about it through YouTube channels and podcasts and stuff, and realizing there was a community behind it. And I started just dabbling a little bit, and then it got out of control. Just like anything does, just became a hobby. It became something that I was really interested in, and really trying to figure out what people were talking about. Because when you first start something, you have no idea what the heck is actually going on. So when somebody was like, I'm getting a lot of vanilla or mint on this whiskey, I'm like, well, did they add vanilla or mint? How hard, what do you mean? You should, is it in the ingredients list? How hard is it to find out? So it's I basically learning from bare bones. But so the channel started. It was weird because I was watching a lot of stuff. What happened was I started driving a bus, like a transit bus. And as I was driving the bus, I always listened to podcasts and YouTube videos like all day in my ear. Just have one earbud in.
Mm-hmm.
So listening to bourbon whiskey stuff all day, every day, driving this bus. Totally paid attention to the road too. But in the other ear was whiskey stuff. And I just had an idea that I was like, it would be cool if all these podcasts and whiskey YouTube channels like did something together and they created their own blend. That was kind of what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like put it together in my head where we could start like an infinity bottle. And by we, I mean them. And like, so they start with the product, they taste it, talk about it, and then pass it on to the next person. And then that person adds something to it and then talks about it. And then it just goes down the line where everybody keeps adding something to the bottle that they think would make it better. But then I got home that night and I was like, it's a dumb idea. Never mind. Then I had a few pours and I was like, it's a good idea. So I sent out this crazy Instagram message to all these YouTube channels and podcast people and Dixon Deadman of Kentucky Owl. And he was like he's like the golden goose at the end of the message. This is long-winded. I'm so sorry.
I'm loving this. So he was on your team.
So he was like the star player you wanted to get involved. So
okay.
I said, hey,
yeah,
I want to start an infinity bottle. I'll send it to one person. They taste it, review it, add something to it, and send it to the next person. So each channel will get content from it, and they'll be able to blend something together and I don't know, give everybody content, but also have everybody work together on a cool project. And then I said, in a perfect world, the final person to receive the bottle is Dixon Deadman of Kentucky Owl, and then he fixes what we screwed up. And then we'll take the finished product and we'll raffle it for charity. That was my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's never going to work. But the next morning I woke up at like 7:00 in the morning. Dixon had messaged me back, the first person. He's like, I'm in, let's do it. And I was he had no idea who I was at all. So,
that's so cool. I love that. Dixon comes in here from time to time, and he's a great guy. That doesn't surprise me one bit that he was on board.
Yeah, so he was on board immediately, and it was a really cool thing. So at that point, I was like, gonna have to make a label, gonna have to make it actually legit. So the bottle was called Beagle Rare Kentucky Howl. And it was from the old Charter distillery. So I wrote this whole backstory about like how the bottle and like the label came. It's like history as real as our whiskey was its tagline. Like it was completely fake, made up, but it's something that everybody kind of got on board with and just laughed about. But at the end of the day, everybody got content out of it. And then Dixon followed through. He finished the bottle. We all tasted it together. And then we raised like, I don't know, it was like maybe $4,000 or something for St. Jude at the end. So it was a really cool
That's process. Amazing.
Yeah. But throughout the process, I just got people telling me I should start my own channel. That's how I started my own channel. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so it grew from there.
Follow-up question. One, how amazing is that like, you know, you don't ever really, sometimes the best things that happen to us, you don't really plan for, they kind of just happen. But, you know, your YouTube channel, I think it's so successful because you have a sense of humor. And I think a sense of humor in so many different things in life is so valuable because it can bring anything that you're talking about to a level that is approachable and relatable to any kind of drinker in this example, right? So do you think that you've always been the funny guy, or do you think it took kind of this platform of your YouTube channel to kind of discover that about yourself?
Oh no, I've spent my entire life trying not to get beat up. So I had basically just trying to make people laugh my entire life. And then, so this is what happened was, like when I've discovered that a lot of people who haven't always been like the attractive one or like the popular one, they're the people who sometimes like turn to humor to get people to like them a little bit. That's
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
And then I lost 130 pounds and I just started lifting weights and I got super jacked. And I was in my purest, best form ever. And then I met my wife and she was like, "You're funny. You're in great shape." And then I'm like, nailed it, just put a ring on it, relaxed a little bit. And now I'm back to being the funny guy who likes whiskey. So I had to sacrifice a little bit but still, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never thought anybody would watch this channel. I thought it was pretty ridiculous. And I don't know, I was surprised when I had 100 subscribers, but I don't know, the number keeps going up and every day I'm surprised that people watch this stuff. It's crazy.
It's not going to stop because especially during the pandemic when everybody was just, so unsure of their future and really struggling with a lot of things, I think binging on like dramas like Breaking Bad were too much for people. I think it was like, hey, like life is stressful. I think I'm not going to watch this like high drama series right now. And people were leaning more towards things that made them feel human again, that made them feel happy again. And comedy is kind of seeing a huge boom. And I think that while the stand-up kind of specials that you see are kind of oversaturated now on Netflix and Hulu and HBO, like you have really honed in on something that is really unique and very specific to you. And once again, I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable and awkward, but you've got, we're so lucky at Bardstown Bourbon Company that you won World's Top Whiskey Taster because we could not have picked a better contestant to win. Excuse me. And I just want to say keep it up, and I'm just happy. I feel very fortunate to be a part of this part in your journey because I swear you're going to be famous someday, and I fully support it, as does everybody that watches and comments every time you post. So keep it up.
That makes me feel super uncomfortable.
I know. I'm really good at that.
It's weird when people say, like, I don't know. It's just a goofy YouTube channel about whiskey, and I can't believe that people watch it. That's all I can say. But
keep it goofy. Keep it a goofy YouTube channel. It's doing well, and I hope you're having fun.
It's funny because people ask about the World's Top Whiskey Taster, and the first video I told my wife, I was like, Carissa, they're doing this thing. It's called World's Top Whiskey Taster, and she was like, but I mean, it's you though. Like, are you going to be able to? I was like, I have no idea, but I'm going to make a video. So I made a video and I flipped a bottle and long poured something, and it was the goofiest video, and I published it, and never in a million years expected that I would actually win the thing. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing. I was like, the regionals happened, and I was like, holy cow, I'm invited to this. And then when that happened, when I won that, my mind was blown. I'm like, there's no possible way that this is actually going to happen. And then it happened, and I still can't believe it. It's still a shock. From that initial video to where like we're talking now, would have never predicted it in a million years.
That's so cool. I'm so happy for you, and we're so happy for us that we've got you as our World's Top Whiskey Taster. So I can't wait to see what 2021 brings, because we're going to do some cool things. We're going to take that. You haven't seen it yet, but I haven't seen it in person, but next week, February 10th, our mobile bar, we call it our mobile marketing unit, which is a little too formal, but it's a mobile bar. It's a big giant table. It's 14 feet long. It's 14 feet tall and 27 feet long. And it's basically, we took this and we put it into a trailer, and we're going to trek it across the country to where we can and in safe conditions, obviously. But we're going to take you with us, and we're going to help, get you out there. I hope you're ready.
I am super excited.
It's going to be you and me. It's going to be you and me, pioneering that voyage. So I'm excited.
Can we do good cop, bad cop?
Yeah.
Because listen, I'm the world's top whiskey taster, and I don't think anybody out there can beat me. Yeah. And I honestly think that if we're riding around in a mobile marketing unit together, then I need to talk some shit. There's no way that I'm just going to sit there and watch somebody tell me that they're the world's top whiskey taster.
Okay. So here's the perfect opportunity. So to anybody watching that is watching now or will watch this after it's posted, does this get posted? Do we post this after it's live?
Oh, it's live and it's automatically
posted. Okay. So to anybody watching now or to anybody watching after this is posted that is interested in entering the World's Top Whiskey Taster Challenge, what advice or lack of advice would you give them? Just
do it.
Yeah.
If you love whiskey and you are interested in the business, if you think that you want to know more about it, no matter if it's something that you want to do, even in the slightest bit, or that you think could be cool, do it. Because I did. I mean, look at this. I won, and I did it. I mean, you can do it for sure. So okay. Did I think that I would win? No. Do I think that you can win? Absolutely, because I'm proof of it. So if you're interested in it, do it. And it's a blast. And it can open up doors that you never expected. Hell, I'm sitting here right now talking with Samantha and friggin' drinking out of a $40 Bardstown Bourbon Company Yeti mug. Yeah, delicious. It's free. Free for me. No,
free for me, World's Top Whiskey Taster. I love
water's it. So cold.
I thought maybe you were going to be the bad cop. I thought I was priming you up to tell people to back off and that there's only room for one, but you went the other direction. So you're not doing really good on the bad cop part so far.
You know what, Sam? Shut your mouth.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
You're going to have to work on it. You're going to have to get in character because it doesn't come naturally to you.
It's short circuiting and I'm lashing out at the wrong person. Oh, son of a gun.
That's okay. We can work on it. Before we get on the road. But be prepared for some hard questions from Matt Porter and some softballs from Sam Montgomery.
Yeah. You're gonna be like, you are the worst bad cop I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Can't.
That's awesome.
In my mind, it works really well, though.
Yeah.
In my mind. Oh, I got to work on it for sure. I will. I just can't go too far. Just gotta be. I don't know. I'll start with my children about eating their breakfast.
Yeah, that's good practice.
Yeah. I'm the only breakfast eater in this house.
Oh, they can't eat breakfast?
That's right. Maybe they'll trick them into eating a healthy breakfast.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that's awesome. You're already making progress. That's so great.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you for coming on tonight. I do have a giveaway to do. You can hang out for that, or you can go. It's up to you.
I've got several bourbons in front of me and this kind of Fernet I've been saving for last. So I'm just going to stick around for the giveaway if that's okay.
Awesome. What do you have in front of you that's not the Fernet? Did you say Fernet or Turnet?
Fernet.
Okay.
Fernet. Yeah. I'll have to pour you some the next time.
Nothing but
there's an opportunity. It's good. And you can make some good cocktails with bourbon and Fernet if you know how. I'll teach you the ways.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also have a little Discovery 4 in front of me because I'm in love with this series of Discovery as well. I might even like it more than my blend, really. So I got a little pour of that for last.
Did you watch my Discovery 3 versus Discovery 4 video?
No, not yet. Was that recently?
Yeah, it was like last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, I was in Wisconsin and Texas for a while, so I have a lot of catching up to do. I'll get to it. Who won?
They don't have Wi-Fi in Wisconsin. I can't tell you. Well, so let me tell you this.
You're good.
I made a list of best bourbons and best whiskeys of 2020, and Discovery 3 and 4 made both lists.
Okay.
America, that was a bad pop. Stu's bottle's terrible at popping corks. Yours was so much better.
Already winning.
Unfortunately, his came out ahead of yours on both lists, but then I did a side-by-side. But it was funny because you said something earlier that I said in the video. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, she must have watched it. But you didn't. Can't remember what it was. It was kind of funny, though.
Okay. I'll watch it.
By the way, you live and you learn. That's got to come off of there. You can't long pour at the tag because it ends up everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
So Michelle Davilar she was taking care of the super chats for the giveaway tonight. Michelle, do you have a number that we can choose from? I don't even know if she said it yet. Wasn't paying attention. What an idiot. So silly. She probably said it 4 times. So this one, the Discovery 4, is all Kentucky. And yours has some Indiana in it. Oh. These mash bills look so familiar to me now.
I know. Now you've tasted them singularly. Yeah.
1 through 75. Sam, pick a random number between 1 and 75.
The child in me wants to say a number, but I'll stay away from it. 47.
47. The child wanted to say 11.
Yeah.
For sure. I think she said 47. 47. 47's the winner of the Michelle Davilar giveaway. What did she give away? I don't even know. Something super special, I would imagine. Something so cool. It's weird. The more I go back to number 4, number 4 changes a lot for me. Sometimes I get lots of nuts out of it, and sometimes I don't. Tonight's a lot of chocolate. A lot of chocolate. Ooh. I gotta say also, on the first round of the World's Top Whiskey Taster, in person, the tasting or the
sensory evaluation.
After we did the evaluation, there was the pour that we had to write tasting notes on.
Yeah.
And I realized I had never done that before. I'd never actually written tasting or nosing notes before. I never wrote words. I wrote them down. And being timed, I was like, this is a terrible idea. This is bad. But also, I had tasted all of those because I was doing so poorly smelling them. So I was panicking. So I had to taste all the different, like the triangle tests. I tasted like 9 different samples over and over again. So when I got to the pour, it tasted like a Butterfinger bar.
Yeah, I was going to say that probably wrecked your palate.
I was like, what on earth is this? It's delicious. It tastes like a Butterfinger bar. So then everyone was asked like what they thought it was. And people started guessing. I was like, wrong. Totally wrong. No, it tastes like that doesn't. It was Wild Turkey 101. And I was like, oh my goodness. I had never tasted something so weird after that.
You must have done well, though. Nobody guessed it was Wild Turkey 101. So you didn't get a perfect score, but you did get the highest score on that round.
Oh, no, I actually did poorly the first round.
Did you? I can't remember. I thought you did really well in that round.
I did really well in the last round because I guessed it was Bardstown Bourbon Company.
You did. You guessed it was Bardstown Bourbon Company, which I was trying to throw everybody a bone, but you were the only one that got it.
So we did over and over and over again, blind flights leading up to it.
Mhm.
Blind flights. Like, I had no idea what was in the glass. So it could be anything. So
Mhm.
distilleries were pretty much, especially when they're written down in front of me. Like, is this Buffalo Trace? Smell it, think Buffalo Trace. No. Is it Wild Turkey? No. Is it Heaven Hill? No. Like,
Yeah.
so then at
So,
some point I'm like, this has got to be a Bardstown Bourbon
so
Company product.
you did the process of elimination to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. And it was
Yeah.
easier for me when it was written down in front of me, so I'd have to do it all in my head. But
Well, the thing I try to make easy, I kind of try to plant an Easter egg, if you will. So I knew that we were giving you guys a bottle of Discovery 3 for your hotel rooms.
yeah.
So I was like, well, it should be like, I would assume that everybody would crack it open and have a pour.
Mhm.
So they should be very familiar with it. And then after the challenge and the results and everything, I realized that everybody thought it was such a nice gift that nobody opened it. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? You were supposed to drink it.
But the night before, I was sitting in the hotel room. I was constantly thinking of how these competitions were going to work,
Yeah.
like what the actual challenges were going to be. So I sat in the hotel room the night before studying the mash bill and like from Discovery 3. I'm like, what if this is an Easter egg? Like, what if
You
this is part of the competition tomorrow? So
you
I was like
got it.
memorizing, because I was thinking like art of blending, recreate Discovery 3. That's like in my head. I'm like, what if that's what they do?
Ah.
So
You were on the right path then.
yeah, I didn't open it though.
Yeah. Nobody did. I think I went around the room, like nobody opened it. I'm like, it's been in your hotel room all weekend. What's wrong with
Yeah.
you?
Steve
But
signed, and then Steve at dinner that night said, "Still autographed if it's empty."
he did. That's exactly what he said. And that was so funny.
Jason Ross is the winner tonight. Congrats, Jason Ross.
Congrats,
Awesome.
Jason.
We'll be in touch. But I just want to say thank you, Sam. This was super cool. I don't know what it is. You make me nervous because the first time I spoke with you, you were questioning me. And it's like, oh, you know what? I think you're a cop, like an off-duty cop right now, where it's like
Yeah.
the first time we talked, you had me pulled over, and I was
Yeah.
I was speeding with no seatbelt on after not signaling to change lanes, and my
Yes.
insurance card, not sure if it's in the glove box. Later on, we became friends, and then I talked to you, and I'm still like just remembering that first time.
Like you're getting pulled over still.
Yeah, a little bit, but
Okay.
you let me off with a warning, so I should probably just chill out.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll work on that. Well, we gotta get some chemistry, because we're gonna be, ruling that mobile bar on the road across the country together, and corralling people and getting them to enter World's Top Whiskey Taster. So I think we'll get over that sooner than later. I hope.
That's the bet. Shayla from Whiskey Central says, you just graduated, but she still feels like your teacher. That's probably, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Sam did say that they're doing a rye in a few years. She did.
We are.
Drew.
Yeah, we are doing a rye.
Pay attention, Drew. Jeez Louise.
That's points off for Drew.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Tonight was awesome. We'll have to do it again. And
yeah,
looking forward to the mobile marketing unit. That's pretty cool name for it.
Yeah, maybe you can come up with a name, or maybe your followers can come up with a name for the mobile bar. All right. Ooh. ADHD whiskey fans, what do we call the mobile bar?
That's a good question.
Because it needs a nickname. We could even make some content out of it. We can take suggestions and maybe do a little live reveal what we choose. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but let's noodle on it, and we can talk offline, and maybe we can get your followers to come up with a nickname for the mobile bar.
So before I let you go, let me just bring up an idea that I had that we probably shouldn't talk about live, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to recreate your cocktail.
Yes.
I'm going to challenge my viewers to create their own cocktail with a Bardstown Bourbon Company product and to film it
Okay.
and tag me
Okay.
on Instagram.
Love it.
And I think that we should do something cool for the person who comes up with the best one, an original cocktail. I don't know what it is yet, but I think that we should do something cool for that person. We'll
Okay.
talk about it later. But
Let's talk about a good prize, and then maybe we can get on your channel or mine or do like an Instagram live where we set the rules
mhm,
and declare a prize and give like a timeline and everything. If you guys are
that'd be
into that, let Matt or I know and we'll make that happen. We could have fun with it.
whiskey on wheels. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
We
hashtag
could
wow.
also give a couple of prizes out, one for best cocktail and one for most entertaining video, because I feel like that fits right into your kind of niche crowd here. So
That's a good
maybe
idea.
you're not great at cocktails, but maybe you are funny or entertaining, or you do magic tricks while you make a cocktail. That'd be cool too.
Ooh.
There's a lot of opportunity here.
I'm seeing some names in chat for the mobile marketing unit. The whiskey on wheels, hashtag wow.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Booze caboose, Bardstown barrel.
Booze caboose. Okay, I love this. Okay, so maybe we'll make a couple of contests. I'll just, every day is a different contest. No, I love it. That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. We'll chat later. Thank you, everybody,
Awesome.
for being in chat tonight. We almost, I think, let me check. Did we set a record? I can't tell. Why can't I tell? If we didn't set a record for people in chat, we came within 3, because I saw 3:33 at one point, which is
That's
ridiculous.
awesome.
So cool.
I'd like to say it's because of me, but it's really because you just get cooler and cooler as you go, Matt. It's just that's going to be a trend for a while.
That's so you
shucks.
All right. Love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching me be so awkward tonight. I know it's becoming a trend where I just can't stop being awkward. I'll get over it one day, I promise. My name is Matt. Her name is Sam. This is ADHD Whiskey. I'm the world's top whiskey taster. And like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on dreaming about all the Bardstown Bourbon Company products you could possibly get away with buying without your significant other getting upset. And if they do, just tell them that you love them. But you also love bourbon, made by the best distillery on the planet, BardstownBourbonCompany.com/. Good night.